I really like it. Oh, I liked past tense it. When you'd have drama on the internet and you just sit and relish in the feud. Like, you didn't really take a side. You're just sort of on the sidelines, like the great observer. And observe from afar, people's the points, the situation. You see the people who take two completely different sides, like they treat it like a football games. You have Team Sneako and Team Moist Critical, and they didn't make good points, but even both of them, in my opinion, made trash points. Look, in a debate, you shouldn't expect everyone to have their talking points and have their, debate tactics in order, because you're arguing in front of a crowd and you kind of have to please the crowd, but you're also trying to defend your own takes. But this one's interesting because it started off with this girl. I think her first name's Ava, but honestly, I don't know her last name, and I really do not care. And she was one of the people who were around Mr. Beast, and the whole Mr. Beast controversy is a different thing. But it turns out this madam was talking to an underage kid, right, and probably several, you know, in the past, because I think it was at the time where the internet was a weird place, and you were meant to believe only adults were on the internet, but there's situations where you had underage kids on the internet, and this goes right back to the doctor disrespect situation. And is why I believe that one, kids just should not be on the internet. Like, if you are a minor, there's absolutely nothing of value you can glean from the internet until you're 18, right? Then you can perk into the skill that allows you to use the internet. And also the fact that if you're a content creator, you have absolutely no reason to interact with minors on the internet, particularly because, again, we live in the age of the couple or a screenshot of a couple of text is all that's required to destroy someone's image and destroy their reputation and, their life. So there's absolutely, like, the minute you find out they're underage, you block, you mute, do everything in your power to protect yourself. But this individual, like, I think the kid in particular came up and he's like, oh, I didn't feel victimized. And again, if you're a minor, I believe that you are not in the right mindset to understand that if you're being groomed or if you're being taken advantage of, right, or if you're being manipulated. So I didn't exactly take what the kid said to heart. But Ava, being a grown ass adult, absolutely should know what the fuck she was doing and absolutely was in the headspace to know. And plus, this individual was talked about Shad Man. Like, and if you don't know Shad Man, he was an artist, right, that made art of minors and sexual positions, right? And it was odd because he made art of like Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in an odd sexual positions. And I think that's completely different, right? Now, don't get me wrong, like, say, the lolicon and that are both, you know, disgusting. And I could never understand anyone into that. But I'd say a fictional depiction of a real child is far more egregious than just a fictional depiction of a child. Like, we can draw these conclusions and it be fine. So, and that's Shad Man, or I think his name was Shad Base. And people were pumping their fists at him, being like, oh, yeah, it's his free speech to draw underage depictions of real children, and I thought it was a very odd situation. They're very weird, very, you know. But, that was the internet at the time. You had weird fucking shit, and Ava partook into this uh, proclivities. And now you have Sneako and Moist Critical, and they're going on a tirade because Sneako accuses Moist Critical of just not talking about it, of trying to cover it up, and people had shit takes and was like, oh, you'll defend Doctor Disrespect, but won't get, you got the Doctor Disrespect not after her. And Moist Critical made it clear his intentions on the situation. Like, some things should go without saying, but you have the kids in the back that have a 12-year-old mindset, and if you don't actively state it in front of their face, and again, this is the thing with arguing in front of groups. Like, you can say one thing, some people may accept it, some people may not. Some people may just want to get the rise out of you. So, and it's probably the crux of this situation, right? Because Sneako's a Muslim, and his stances on this is he believes the age of marriage should be like 14 or something, like a very young age for whatever fucking reason. I guess being a Muslim and growing up in that culture, and like he didn't say the age of like sex or consent. Well, he said the age of consent is maturity, but the age of marriage should be 14. I do not agree with that whatsoever. That's fucking weird. But, oh yeah, he also defended cuties, which, okay, I will shit on him for that. Look, like, I understand the points people are making to defend that Netflix show for whatever reason, right? And they want to be contrarian. Again, my argument is whatever the intention of the show or the movie, it fucking failed. Like, its intentions utterly failed to portray what it wanted to. And I think that show actually got in trouble with the Texan government. For good reason. But, and there's other things, like Sneako and Moist had an argument in the past, and they talked face to face, and they rectified that. And I mean, Moist also has some. Moist is just the milk toast arguer. Like, he just says things that any normal person would agree with, right? He's not very controversial type of person. He's also on Twitch, and if you're on Twitch, like, the same platform that will ban any not even just right wingers. If you say something like an opinion that's just slightly right leaning, they'll ban you. But Sneako asked an interesting argument. He's like, do you think a kid should have their gender change or their sex change if both the parents agreed to it? And Moist was like, sure, I don't care. I'm like, did I read this wrong? Like, Moist was like, if it's between the kid and the parents, I don't really care. And at first I was like, did I read it wrong? But then I was thinking, I was like, there's opinions that I have, but the overall crux of them that I don't care about, like on the whole Israel, Hamas, and Palestine situation. My opinion is one should just wipe the other off the face of the planet just to get it over with, so we don't have to worry about this. Like, that's my opinion, but in all actuality, I do not care. Like, it's a war happening on a completely different side of the planet, in a completely different nation, in a completely different area that has absolutely no effect on me. But again, Americans do this thing where they treat it like a football game, because for hundreds of years we haven't actually fought a threat that's greater than ours. So, and that's just the overall idea of America. And it's one that I don't understand, but, again, people will take the ideological position, people will take the, whole, geopolitical position, But I could care less. But and it's the same thing happening here, right? You know, people will take their, and I just don't believe that Moist really cares in particularly about the situation. But being on Twitch, it's like you are supposed to have certain opinions, and if you say otherwise, you get in the hot water with the group that on Twitter that many AAA companies believe is their consumers. You know, the people that are terminally online and go clickety clack on the keyboard and are willing to destroy people's lives through the power of the keyboard and through the power of the government or of the laws and the institutions. And again, when he said this, I don't think this is uh, like any strike against Moist Critical in particular. It's just the football field he's in. Like maybe he genuinely believes this. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, but I do know that there are opinions you're just not allowed to hold on Twitch. Personally, I don't think there's some things about children that should be left the fuck alone because kids are fucking stupid. And regardless of what they say, you should be like, yeah, yeah, sure, whatever. Until they're 18 and make that decision for themselves. Like, again, at the age of where they can't drink, they can't have sex, they can't drive, they can make a life changing decision of changing their biological sex. It's like, that's just not something I agree with. You know, I think people should be in the right mindset. And I also hold this mindset for like religion, like being a Christian. Now, I get instilling those values in the kids are important, and if you don't, you have other ideologies trying to instill their values into your child. So I think something needs to be installed. You know, some values need to be installed in a child, and unfortunately, Christianity, even though it's not perfect and it can be used as a tool to control, it's a lot better than the alternative. But that's my soapbox, and I haven't really watched the whole debate. I'm summarizing because it's odd that two content creators and Sneako was obviously trying to egg Moist Critical on, and the first debate they had, Moist Critical wiped his whole ass on Sneako, and this one, I think he's getting a little bit heated over just some fucking idiot that just mobilized the terminally online Twitterites just to go after him. So, who won the debate? Because someone needs to win. I mean, Moist Critical is always going to come out objectively on top over Sneako. Because again, Sneako's just some asshole on the internet. Now he's an entertaining asshole, and people like him. People like watching the assholery. But Most Critical is just some dude who, I don't know, plays games, runs an esport. He's just mid. He's just some mid dude who's just put on the defensive because he Sneako yet again is coming after him for whatever fucking reason. But that's all I gotta say about this. You know, it's odd. It's so odd how content creators are blasting their careers. It's like that. Is that the new trend? Then you got Boogie, you got Destiny, you got Doctor Disrespect. I don't know about but the Mr. Beast thing is another video. And God, there's one more. Nick Riccietta. It's like, man, we live in such odd times. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.